Hello YouTubers, welcome back to the channel. So since I've restored the XR2 here, I've been having a few problems with the brake master cylinder. I did recondition it with a new set of seals and I did change the servo for one off a Mark III Fiesta, which initially I didn't realise the pin that comes out into the back of the master cylinder was too long, so I cut that down and I thought I got it to the correct length. However, it was a couple of mil long and it kept sticking the brakes on, as I found out, because obviously once the brakes got a bit warm, the fluid expanded and it kept them holding on. Managed to sort that out before the MOT, happy days, but I appear to have a drip coming from the servo. Now initially I thought the gearbox was leaking oil because I put a piece of cardboard underneath and kept getting this wet patch, but it didn't smell like gearbox oil. Eventually I took the breather pipe out, or the vacuum pipe out the servo, and got my vacuum sucker in and got a load of brake fluid out. Now luckily I've put silicone in, so no damage has been done. However, it appears that the brake master cylinder has been leaking through the seals, so there must be somewhere on the shaft or something somewhere, I don't know, or the bore. So very difficult to get replacement master cylinders for Fiesta XR2s. In fact, it's virtually impossible. However, somebody on Facebook, Bradley Patilio in Malta, had some for sale. And today, my brand new Ford brake master cylinder has arrived. So fingers crossed, this is going to stop the drip. Doesn't affect the brakes are perfect. But the reservoir keeps dropping and it's leaking into the servo, which is a pain, and then leaks onto my path or wherever I park. Very little, and it's not a lot, and it's not unsafe, but it needed sorting. So tonight I'm going to fit my new one, and fingers crossed we'll have no more drips and the brakes will be perfect. And it is brand new, as you can see. It's all like plastic coated. It's even got the sleeve on the back. Now we did have some of these with brake master cylinder reservoirs on, but I'm going to reuse my old one. Not cheap, but cheap because you can't buy them. So I'm not going to complain, because brakes are very important and they cost what they cost. So fingers crossed, I've got a good one here, which it looks good. It's brand new Lucas one, and we'll go ahead and install it. So first port of call, gloves on, because it's a messy job, silicone and any brake fluid. Second port of call is get my US Pro vacuum pump out. Now this is something I bought off eBay. Comes in a nice little box with all different adapters for brake nipples and T-pieces and bits of tube, spur lids, everything like that. And it's basically a little vacuum pump. You just vacuum on that. I put my thumb over the end. You have a tube that goes to the pot, and then the pot and the tube that comes off to your vacuum. And you can just, I'll put my thumb on, pump it up, see the gauge moving. It creates the vacuum, and then obviously as soon as you release the pressure on under the brake nipple, it drops down and it sucks the fluid into the pot. So it's a very handy thing. It wasn't very expensive. 20 quid I think, something like that, maybe a bit more. Has a little direction on the front telling you to the pump and then to the car. So what we'll do, we'll drain the fluid out of the reservoir best we can. I've got my silicone fluid pot here, another eBay jobby, and it's brand new what's in, so I'll just top this back up and we'll go from there. So we'll move over to the car. Okay, right, so first port of call is take the cap off, and hopefully not much fluid is in that little reservoir. I have got a piece of cardboard just below with a cup, and this is what strips out the fluid here. So I've got something to capture it in, which we'll put to one side. What we'll do, we'll get the old vacuum pump in and we'll just suck it out. You can see there, hopefully, the fluid being sucked up the pump. it'll go into the little reservoir. So we'll just empty the reservoir out into a separate little pot, save wasting the fluid because it's all clean and brand new, the whole system. So this is just sucking it out and filling my pot. Probably won't get all of it out, but we'll get as much out as we can, which is the important thing. The pot's getting a bit full there, so just lift that up. And you can see how much fluid I just took out the pot there. And then we'll decant that into the cardboard cup now. So we've now got the first bit of fluid out. The next one is to take the pot off. So I've got an old cloth here. These just push, they're just only on rubber bungs, so it's just a matter of pulling them out by hand. Quite easy. God, he says normally come out pretty easy, these, but it's been a bit of a monkey. Wasn't that hard to get in, but yeah, that's one out. One out, and then what I'll have to do, because I've not been able to empty the front reservoir, oops, finger on that, and I'll just drain that into my pot. Waste not, want not. I'll clean that up afterwards. Right, and then what we've got is just a bit of fluid in the master there, so we'll get the vacuum on that and just suck it out. Save, try and reduce the amount of spillages, wastages we can. And the master cylinder. And we'll do the front pot as well. And I'll just tip that upside down so it drains back into the receiver. And I'll do the back one again. And the front one. Right, so that's hopefully drained out what we need. So the next stage is to get a 11mm spanner, a 13mm spanner and a 17mm spanner. 13mm for here, 11mm for there, 17mm for the two spots. So I'll go and get that and then we'll jump on removing it. Okay, so got my 13mm, my 17mm, and of course I can't find an 11mm spanner, so I'll use this 7/16, which does the trick anyway. It's like, so I've already pre-slackened these off, so they come out quite easy. And bought that one there. Slacken it off with the finger. A bit of a waggle. That's one released. With the other back one now, I've put a cloth down at the bottom, so if I do get any spillages, it goes onto the cloth. But I'm not too worried because it's silicone. It's not the same as the old .4, .5, whatever we're on now. And rips the paint off everything. That's what I do, like the silicone option. And it doesn't absorb water the same as your normal brake fluid. So I've run all my cars on silicone now. I've changed them over the years. It's never had any issues whatsoever. So I know people say this, the rubbers, but well, like I say, I've not had any issues. I've had a few brake cylinders weak, but you will get that with normal. Excuse me, I've got a cold still. Get that with normal brake fluid. So anyway, there we go. So that's just a bit. It's loose. It's just a bit awkward, that one. Right, so they're all out now. So that's out, that one's out, and that one's out. So next stage is we'll I put these dome nuts on so I don't catch my fingers on the threads when I'm wiping over on my rag. So I'll take them out, put them on the floor at the side of the car, and then I'll just slacken the holding bolts down, or nuts, Again, I've put stainless steel on here because they don't rust. Stainless steel washers. Just looks just a better job. That's them two off. 2 washers. And that's them 2 not off. Now this just gives a bit of a waggle and it pops off. Make sure I don't lose my 2 washers down there. Pull the pipes out of the way. And some pipes. Hey presto, we're out. Now I don't know where this is leaking. It looks like it's leaking out of that bit here. And that has a seal behind it. I thought it was leaking out of that pivot at the piston at the back, but it looks pretty dry there. So we need to do some investigation on that. Let's see if we can find out why that's... Oh, it is leaking out the piston at the back. Anyway, we're not too fussed. So I'll just get another... Try and find another cloth. I'll use this one. Sort of polishing cloth. So what we'll do, we'll just wipe off any excess silicone we've got, and what I'll do, I'll just put the gun in the right master cylinder servo and see if there's any fluid in that we can draw out so it doesn't leak. Let's just, this will be interesting. Oh, see, got quite a bit of fluid there. Bringing it all out now, which is good. It shouldn't do any damage because it's a rubber diaphragm and steel. I've had it apart this. Because initially when I bought the vehicle, the brakes were good. And I took the master cylinder off to paint it and the spring was broke. The big spring inside the servo. So my friend Andy got me a Mark III master cylinder. Which was completely wrong, off a Fiesta. But the servo was exactly the same size. The only problem was this was over here. So what I've done, I've used my own front and the newer back off a newer car. And you just peen these back. There's like little clips around the pressed in metal, and then the front will pop off and the spring. And it's just, and it comes, these studs are part of the back bit or the servo diaphragm inside. So it all lines up. Then I just painted all this back up and put my new sticker on and put it on. The only thing I didn't do, that rod there just inside, and I don't know whether you can see that and whether I can zoom in enough to show you that, but there's a rod, that rod there, that's attached to the pedal box at the back. This where that's rubber, where that rubber is there. And I didn't adjust that quite right. It was a little bit too long, which was holding the brakes on. But it has got a nut and a thread on it, so I did adjust it, and I've got it spot on now. So brake pedals are lovely, right at the top, but not too soft. But anyway, now we'll get the new one on. So I'll just stop the video for a second, and I'll go and get it off the bench, and then I'll restart again. Okay, so here's the new master cylinder. I took the cap off the back. So basically we just do the reverse order of taking it off. Just going to make sure that piston goes in that sleeve, and then it's a nut and washer on. So I've got 2 washers, one a bit thicker and one thinner, but both 10mm. And the stainless nut on there. That goes on lovely. And I'm going to get the other one off the floor. 2 washers on. And I get all these washers, I get them from eBay, or when the lads have a few lying around at work, I just pick them up off the floor, keep hold of them. It's always handy to have. So I'll just ratchet that on equally. Just chip my paint there. Oh dear. get the touch up out. Put that cloth on there now, don't do it again. Right, so that's that done. Now put the 2 dome nuts on. Just covers the studs. Makes it look better. That's my opinion. I like having dome nuts. Rag doesn't catch when you're polishing. Right, so now we'll take 1 cap out at a time. Put that on the top of the battery. Get this started with the fingers. Now what I tend to do, hopefully, like I did last time, I leave these slack. Take the other one out. And I then just bleed it through the pipes here. Fingers crossed. Don't have to do the whole wheels, which is a pain in the bum. The downside is I've got to get the wife out. She's not overly happy about helping. She used to do this with her dad many years ago, and I think she's all brake bled out, should we say. And but we'll get her on, and I'll try and sneakily get her on the video. She'd probably be not happy. She's not. She doesn't like me doing. Doesn't like being on internet and stuff. But don't know why. But we'll see. Right, so that's a bit tight. That one started. So just get the old spanner out. Yeah, that's gone in easy. Must be just a bit of a tight thread, that one. So we're nearly there. Once we've got these in, we'll just put a nip on them, and then I'll put the reservoir back on, top it up with fluid, and we'll open them up, just let a bit of air out naturally, and then I'll get her indoors out, Sue, the wife, and we'll get her pumping the brakes. We'll see if we can get a pedal on it, and if we get a pedal on it, I'll be out in it after. Well, maybe not tonight. I might not bother tonight. I'll be out in it tomorrow night, and we'll check it out. Might do a quick video on it, having a bit of a scutch around. I'm out tomorrow in Chesterfield, so hopefully I won't get home too late, and we have to have a spin. So I'm just going to clean the reservoir on the outside with some carb cleaner, so I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so here we have one clean brake master cylinder. Just a little bit of residue left in it. I'll shake that off. A bit of brake cleaner. So what I need to do now is get this back in here, and these should fall in quite easily. He says a bit of a push. There we go. Click, click, clunk, trip, clunk, click, and we're in. Rock solid. So now we need to top it up with some fluid. So I've got some fluid here, what we took out, which is all clean and brand new. So we'll pop that back in. Out the cup. And it's got 2 reservoirs, front and rear, so you have to fill the back right up, and it's got like a little bleed over slot in a bit, and you can just start to see the front section filling up. So you have to bit of muck in that lot there, so I'll throw that bit away now. Got some fresh stuff. My .5 silicone brake fluid. Okay, it's quite a good stuff, this. I've used it in all the cars. There you go, it's just levelled itself out. So we'll top it up to the top. I know it's too high, but we are going to lose some of it when we come to bleed it. So just do a bit of a wipe down and get rid of all the mess I've made on top of that cover. Battery cover now, clean. Right, okie dokie, so that's settling down lovely. Now I'm going to break the give this cup a clean out, some brake fluid onto the bench. Right, so I've got my cup here, which I've just cleaned with some brake cleaner. So it's nice and clean inside now. So what we'll do, we'll get the spanner. I'll just crack one of them open and see if we can get any fluid naturally leaking out. So there's a little bit just coming there, a bit of air. I can see a little bubble then. So what we'll do, we'll blow on this and see if that helps. No, didn't think it would, a bit stupid. So now I need to get the wife to come and assist. This will be fun. I'll have to give her the call on the back phone. Let's crack that one, see if there's anything coming out. Some gravity. A little bit of something bubbling away there. But nothing major. So, right, so it's time to get her indoors, out, and we'll see how we go on. Okay, so she didn't want to be on camera, so I have to respect her because I live with her. She'd make my life hell if I didn't. So we're all done, believe it or not. 5 minutes. We've managed to bleed the brakes through these pipes. I've got a cracking pedal, much better than before with the repair kit in. So the price of £220 delivered sounds a lot of money for a brake master cylinder. Two things. You can't get them in the UK. Get a repair kit for about 30 quid, which is pretty fine if it works. However, £230 when I spent thousands on a rebuild, it's a very small price to pay for your brakes. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but it was weeping and it would never have got better. So I think it's money well spent, really. Although I could have done without it. But it's the most important, one of the most important parts of a car build. I never realised that at the time. I'd have bought a new one anyway. But now we're all done. Fluid's topped up to the top. You can just see it wobbling there in the reservoir, just on the line, on the mat, just midges bit underneath the maximum. So I can now remove my cardboard. It's been holding down the bottom and wipe my gearbox off to get the excess silicone fluid off. Like I say, I'm quite lucky at being silicone. It doesn't do any damage to the paintwork. Although it's a nightmare for painting with, as those painters will know who restore cars, and silicones are a right pain. But we're all done now, so fingers crossed we've got some good brakes. So I'm going to get it out the garage and we're going to go for a spin and we'll do a quick video and then we'll upload this on YouTube. So we're all back together. I do need to be a bit of a clean. I've been using it a bit and I've not cleaned it underneath the bonnet, although it doesn't look dirty, it is. So I'm going to have to, this weekend I think we've got Cars on the Hill in Burnley, which is a new, not a new show, it's a new show to me last year, and it's the first one. So as Inglenook Farm was the first one, Saturday gone, that's every second Saturday I think, or third Saturday, I forget where I'm up to. This one's every fourth Sunday, so we'll be going to that one because it's a lovely ride out up the M66 motorway, M61, M66, and it's a cracking view from the pub car park, and they do a nice bacon butty and a brew. But you have to get there early, so it's about 45-minute drive, so it's a nice drive for the car, really. And I like getting them out and about. Hopefully the weather will be kind to us. So the chamois over there is all covered up. show season ready. I do need to do an ignition video on that, and fuel pipe check. That's one thing we do need to do with these classics. I'm lucky with the Fiesta, the new fuel pipes, so I don't need to check them, but the red Sport and the green chamois, I do need to check the fuel hoses because they crack over time. And I've been really lucky with the red one. I've never changed them in 16 years. Don't know what pipe was on it, but it's proper fuel pipe, and it's been really, really good. I use E5 like I do in all of them, which is a pricey bit of fuel to put in. It's about 12p a litre, 15p a litre more than normal, but we need to make sure we have the right ones in. So anyway, that's my video changing the master cylinder. It's quite easy, but it is a two-person operation. I won't say man because that's sexist. It's a two-person operation for bleeding, and I was lucky I could bleed them through the brake pipes down there and not have to do the whole lot, which is the beauty because it is only localised to there, so the air can, I might get a little bit of air trapped in here, but when I keep doing it slowly, it fills up with fluid and the air vents out. So great job by the wife, so I must thank her, and I'll make her a brew after. So clocking off for now. I'll get the car out while it's a dry night and we'll give it a blast and see how it performs.